Yosemite is the crown jewel of the Sierra Nevadas with beautiful mountain views and iconic formations like El Capitan and Half Dome and towering waterfalls. But we were surprised to find out how many fun things there are to do in Yosemite National Park.
We're Matt and Cheryl, and we are just finishing up our second trip to Yosemite National Park this summer. And today we want to share with you our very favorite things to do, plus some tips to help you have a great trip. So to kick it off, we are going to start with 11 because we actually have an 11th.
We've got a bonus for you.
We have a bonus for you, and that is Hetchy. Hetchy is not in Yosemite Valley. It's about an hour and a half away. It's kind of a controversial place because it used to be like the second Yosemite Valley, but then they built a dam there. But we love it because it's not crowded and it's still beautiful.
Yeah, now I sure wish I could see that beautiful valley. It was known as the Twin Valley to Yosemite Valley. But today, if you go there, you're going to find a dam and it's going to be full of water. You can do a 5-mile hike kind of around the lake. And then if you're there at the right time of the year, you're going to see 2 towering waterfalls. Now we're here currently in August, so only one of the waterfalls was running.
It was an impressive waterfall and we loved that we had it all to ourselves.
Quick thing to know, if you go out to Hetchy, it's a very bumpy road on the way out there and it is far removed from Yosemite Valley. It takes about an hour and a half to get there, but we enjoyed it. We enjoyed our time out there.
All right, the next one, number 10, is to see the waterfalls in the valley. Yosemite is known for its waterfalls. There's Bridal Veil, there's Upper and Lower Yosemite Falls, there is Nevada Falls, Vernal Falls. There's just tons of them here in the valley.
Okay, so I think that the waterfalls in Yosemite make it basically the Switzerland of America. When you come into the valley, you see these waterfalls coming down the valley walls. The very tallest one is Ribbon Falls. This is over 2,400 feet. These are seasonal waterfalls mostly though. That's kind of something that's really important to know, is that if you visit in the spring, you're going to get a lot of these roaring falls. You visit later in the summer, they could be dried up completely. You come though in the spring, I think that's the Switzerland of America. They're spectacular. I mean, wow, just so tall. Some of the best waterfalls in America.
All right, number 9 is to go have dinner at the Ahwahnee Hotel. So the Ahwahnee is super old. It was built in 1927, so this place is almost 100 years old, and it's a big fancy hotel. It's about $1,500 a night to stay there, which is way too much for the average Joes like us. But we did splurge and we had dinner in their dining room. It's got these big tall windows where you have views of the towering peaks around you, and it's beautiful. They have a piano player. Right now they're having a buffet, but normally they don't, but they do have a dress code for dinner where you dress up a little bit. The food was delicious and such a nice atmosphere. We had a candlelight dinner, so romantic, so fun. And if you're not feeling splurgy, it was a little pricey to go eat there. You can go there for breakfast and lunch where it's not quite so formal and you still get the views and you don't have to make a reservation or do the dress code. And if you really want a bonus, like a freebie,
you can do a tour of the Ahwahnee Hotel for free. So the Ahwahnee is one of the kind of, what would they call it, like one of the crown jewels of the national park lodges, and was actually envisioned to be kind of the premier lodge in the entire National Park Service. It has a claim to that, perhaps. And so you can do a tour of the Ahwahnee. They do them every day at 2 o'clock, at least currently that's what they're doing. And it's free. So that's kind of a nice way to go just check it out and learn more about it. I really enjoyed that. The dining room is grand. That's probably the grandest dining room we've ever been a part of. One of the more fancier meals we've ever been a part of.
All right. Number 8, we just barely did, and that is tunnel view. As you enter the park from 41, you are going to go through this tunnel, and then all of a sudden the valley opens up and you can see a lot of Yosemite. You can see Half Dome, you can see El Capitan, and you can see Bridal Veil Falls. It's just like, wow.
For a lot of people, this is the very first view of Yosemite National Park, and it will knock your socks off as you come. You'll drive through the tunnel, and as you come out of the tunnel, boom, the park appears, which is just really the coolest first view of a national park possible, I think. And then there's also a pull-off there that you can stop and actually just kind of enjoy the view. This is very popular at sunset. If you go there at sunset, you'll see the sun kind of move across the mountains. For me, what makes the view so amazing is, you know, right now we're down in the valley and there's a lot of people, and there's a road, you know, like a one-way road that goes around, and there's the lodges, and there's a lot going on down here. But when you're up at tunnel view, you don't see any of that because it's all covered in trees. And so it looks like one of the most like natural untouched valleys from that viewpoint. I think that's what makes it really cool. All right, number 7 is Tuolumne Meadows. This is a little heaven for me, okay? So this is up in what's called the High Sierra Nevadas. So Yosemite National Park in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. You're down here in the valley and it's a little lower. If you go up on these mountains here and you go out a ways, you will get to what they call the High Sierras. This is the Tuolumne Meadows area. And this is where you're really seeing some rugged Sierra Nevada mountains, a lot of granite, rolling boulders, some spiky peaks. But what makes Tuolumne Meadows so great is that it's this beautiful mountain meadow where the Tuolumne River flows through it. And you can just walk out in the meadow and you're seeing the river and hearing the birds. And it's just really peaceful.
And this meadow is really special to me because it was actually my first view of Yosemite. And I remember telling Matt, I'm like, how could the valley be any better than this? It was just so beautiful. And another really special thing about this is, you know, John Muir was so passionate about getting this area preserved, and Teddy Roosevelt came out to visit the park. And that meadow was around where they talked and started making plans to preserve this area. It's real special. Number 6 is to get in the water. And the nice thing about Yosemite is there's actually a few ways to get in the water. So the first one, and I think one of the coolest ones, is to float down the Merced River. This flows through the valley. And this is more of a lazy river float, not a wild white rafting adventure. Although you can rent 2-person rafts here in Curry Village, and if you don't have a floating device with you, or you can bring your own. But people float down this in the summer, and it's just a delightful thing that we have not got to do yet because unfortunately it's only available for about a month or a month and a half every year. And if you come here in the spring, the water might be too high. And if you're here in August, the water is too low. So if this is important to you, just come try to hit that sweet spot in the middle of June.
The other way to experience the water is just what people are doing behind us right now. You can just go swimming pretty much wherever you want. So this is the Merced River that's flowing through Yosemite Valley. And there are several areas along the river, like this beach here, where you can just pull up and go hop in the water. And so bring your chairs, bring your swimming suits. A really fun place to bring kids. The other place is Tenaya Lake, which is up in the high country around Tuolumne Meadows. And if you go up there, you have a lot of beach area along the lake to play in. We saw people bringing their tubes up there as well, and paddle boards, and just playing in the water up at Tenaya Lake.
Number 4 is to see some sequoia trees. I mean, the sequoias are the reason Yosemite was set aside as a national park, was to protect these wonderful trees, and there's actually a few places to see them.
So there's actually 3 groves in Yosemite National Park, 3 sequoia groves that you can go to. The most popular one is Mariposa Grove. It's so popular that the parking lot is very large, and they have a shuttle system just there at the Mariposa Grove to take you from the parking lot about 2 miles up to the grove, and then you can get out and walk around and go through some of the sequoia trees. There's another one called Tuolumne Grove that we did as well, and that's about a 3-mile round trip hike to reach that one. A little steep, so it's a little less crowded because of that, but we enjoyed both of them equally. Those were really, really neat. Seeing the sequoias, learning about them.
Oh
man,
yeah.
it's been
And what's the third one?
Merced Grove.
Merced, which we have not done yet, but I can tell you about a couple of the special trees you can see. So there's the grizzly giant at Mariposa Grove, and this is a huge tree that has a giant fire scar in it, but it is so big, and the branches are
Giant
all big
arms.
and crazy. And then both those groves have a tree that you can walk through. They have tunnel trees, which are very unique.
Also, Tuolumne Grove had the tree that was like hollowed out, so kids could actually crawl through the whole tree. That was really neat.
That's how big these sequoias are. They're that round that they go empty inside, and they're big enough for a person to go inside of them. It's crazy. Number 3 is Glacier Point. This is another incredible viewpoint. From here, you can pretty much see everything. It's like a life-size relief map.
Yeah, so from here, you're going to get the very best views of Half Dome, which we learned is actually a full dome.
Yeah, it never had another half. That's just how it is.
It looks like it just got sliced off by a glacier. That's what I assumed. But anyway, they say maybe that was actually just the way it was formed, which seems insane. But this is one of the best views because you're really high up, and so you're kind of looking at it a little bit more level. And then also you're looking down on Yosemite Valley, so you're able to see several waterfalls from there all over the valley. You're able to see the Ahwahnee Hotel, Curry Village, Merced River flowing through it. It is one of the best viewpoints I've ever seen in my life. It is spectacular.
It's kind of a happening. There's a lot of energy there. People are just there taking their pictures. There's a gift shop there that has a whole wall full of like ice cream you can buy. And everyone's in there buying their ice cream, enjoying the views. It's just kind of, it reminded me of when I went to the Grand Canyon for the first time on the South Rim, and everyone was there just taking it in, being excited for the first time. It very much had that vibe, and it's just fun to be there and people watch too. Number 2 is renting a bike or bringing your own. Yosemite has over 13 miles of bike trails throughout the Yosemite Valley. They're wonderful because you're not having to share the road with cars. And I have 3 things to say about biking. Biking is fast, functional, and fun. This enables you to get around the valley really quickly. It's not hard to bike, and the paths they're flat. Like, you don't need an e-bike. A regular beach cruiser does a job, which is what you can rent. So functional because you're not having to drive around and park your car and find a spot. And then lastly, it's just fun. Not having the obstruction of the roof of your car while you're enjoying this valley, and being able to see how tall these peaks are and feel the wind and smell the pines. I mean, it's just a delightful experience. Like, I loved everything about our bike ride.
I'm normally not a huge fan of turning a almost free national park like experience into something you would have to pay for. Like, if we brought our kids here, it would cost a fair amount to rent the bikes when it all adds up.
They were like $40 for the day.
But I'm going to say this, Yosemite, it is absolutely worth it, because the thing is, you're down in the canyon and really tall canyon walls. I mean, 2,000 to 3,000 feet tall on these canyon walls at some points. And so that means that if you're in the shuttle or if you're in your car, you're kind of, you're not really able to see up and experience it all that well. But when you're on a bike, it's just wide open, and it is really neat. And then the other thing about Yosemite is that it's small enough that you can get around to all the major sites pretty much with your bike.
All right, are you ready for the last one?
Number one?
Last one. You should introduce it.
Okay, yeah. I am going to introduce, because we'll tell you the story behind this. So the number one thing is the Mist Trail. This is the most popular hiking trail in the park. I wish we could have like a hot take and give you something else, but this is actually a spectacular thing. It's one of the most memorable things to do in Yosemite National Park, in any national park, in my opinion. So I visited this in May, and I did the Mist Trail. Now, this is when the waterfalls were really flowing, the snow's melting, it's coming down a lot. These waterfalls are heavy, so it's why they call it the Mist Trail. So as you hike up the Mist Trail, you get to this section where you're going up this narrow canyon where vernal fall comes off the ledge and falls down into this canyon, and you are just getting sprayed by the mist the whole time. Mist sounds like you're just going to get kind of lightly doused. No, you get drenched. And
they can't call it the drenched trail.
And it was so fun. Everybody is just so excited and just loving life. I put a poncho on. First I was thinking, is this overkill? No, it wasn't overkill, because you get it super, super wet, and it is so fun. And so anyway, then you go up and you can get to the top of Vernal Fall, and you can overlook the fall right from the very brink of it. So we did it here in August when Cheryl came with me, and the waterfall was still flowing, but there was no mist. So it wasn't flowing near to the extent that it was in the spring.
But I can say, even though I didn't see it in all of its grandeur, I loved it.
And there's a bonus here. If you continue on, these are hard hikes, by the way. The Mist Trail is actually pretty steep, so you got to know that.
It was the ultimate butt kickery. I was so gassed after doing that hike. Oh my gosh.
It is a little rough. Trust me, it's worth it. So get in shape, do the stair step or whatever you got to do the Mist Trail. You could do it. But if you're in good enough shape, you can keep going beyond Vernal Fall, and you get to Nevada Fall. And whoa, baby, so Vernal Fall, by the way, 300 feet tall. Nevada Fall, 600 feet tall. And that thing was just raging, and it was so amazing, that canyon wall. Man, if you can do the full Nevada Fall loop, do it. But that is 2,000 feet of elevation gain. It's a pretty good workout.
And if you are getting excited to take a trip to Yosemite, we have a whole playlist of tips and things to help you plan an amazing trip. Check it out next. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, go west, young traveler.